The first thing I did after being reborn was to send my pet dog to a breeding kennel, all because in my previous life, my adopted daughter Alice developed leukemia and was living on borrowed time, yet her usually doting brother and fiancé turned a blind eye to her condition. On my 18th birthday, my brother gave me a small white teddy bear pet dog. My fiancé gave me a white jade peace buckle. A month later, I suddenly found myself having swapped bodies with the pet dog. The body that originally belonged to me was now occupied by Alice. Alice took the stove hook and struck me with it, blow after blow. My brother and fiancé personally skinned me like a dog, chopped my flesh into pieces, and stewed it into a pot of fragrant meat. After death, Alice and the others enjoyed a hot pot made from my meat. Alice smiled faintly while hurling insults. Luna was such a fool. That wretched woman actually thought she could steal my man. It was only then that I realized Alice's soul had been residing in the teddy dog all along. She was just waiting for me to wear that necklace for a full month, so she could possess my body, and thus be reborn. I died with unclosed eyes, my resentment unappeased. When I opened my eyes again, I had actually returned to the day my brother gave me the teddy dog. This time, I didn't say a word. I took the teddy dog straight to the kennel. Boss, arrange a mating. I want this female dog to have 10 puppies. After the birthday party ended, my brother William and childhood friend Bruce finally arrived late. William looked ashamed. Sorry, Luna. Something came up at work and I couldn't make it to your birthday. This is a gift from your brother. Do you like it? As he spoke, William held up a white purebred teddy dog in front of me, and Bruce, the fiancé, was also by his brother's side, enthusiastically praising. Big brother went to many places just to pick this pet dog for you. This little poodle is a show-grade dog, very expensive. It's clear that Big Brother put a lot of thought into this for you. Hearing Bruce's voice, I suddenly felt dazed. I had actually been reborn. At the same time, I saw that white poodle and was so scared that I kept stepping back. William thought I was sulking with him. He deliberately took 2 steps forward while holding the little poodle. Luna, look, how cute this puppy is. William's eyes were filled with tenderness, yet, I fearfully reached out and pushed away. The teddy bear let out a startled cry from my push. Woof. Woof. Upon seeing this, my fiancé instinctively turned and shielded the little teddy bear in front of him. William also instantly furrowed his brows. He scolded me angrily. Luna, you're really going too far. Don't be so ungrateful for the gift I carefully picked for you. These 2 scumbags. Alice has already turned into a dog, yet they're still so nervous. At this moment, I snap back to reality. A faint smile curls at the corners of my lips. In my past life, my brother brought home an orphan girl from outside and stubbornly forced our parents to adopt Alice as their foster daughter. From then on, Alice moved into our home. She lived and ate with me. She quickly won the hearts of my parents. Even my fiancé, Bruce, showed more favoritism toward Alice. From time to time, he would scold me, saying I wasn't worthy of even a single toe of Alice's. Later, Alice was diagnosed with leukemia. Her life hung by a thread. When my brother and Bruce found out about this, they were unusually calm. They sent Alice abroad and never mentioned her name again. My usually indifferent elder brother and fiancé, in an effort to mend our relationship, both gave me expensive gifts on my 18th birthday. I've always wanted to have a dog. My brother gave me a white teddy bear, and I was overjoyed. But this little teddy seems a bit unusual. In front of others, it's well behaved. Except when we're alone together, this little teddy becomes unusually aggressive. Once, I tried to give the little teddy a bath, but the little teddy was extremely aggressive, biting down hard on my wrist. It nearly tore through half my palm. My parents were away on a business trip, so there was no one at home. With no other choice, I had to rush out in the middle of the night to get a rabies vaccine, and every night after that, I would let the little teddy sleep in the same room with me. That little teddy insisted on sleeping on the bed. One late night, as I was half asleep, I suddenly felt a burning sensation on my cheek. When I opened my eyes, I realized that the little teddy had actually peed on my face. Its mischievous antics didn't stop there. It would shit on my dressing table, deliberately knock over all my cosmetics. It would even deliberately lick the food I was eating. And every time the little teddy caused trouble, it would deliberately raise its chin high, glaring at me with an extremely hostile gaze. I even noticed that the little teddy's eyes could turn red. Its gaze was terrifying, as if it wanted to devour me. The day after getting the vaccine, I raised my blood-stained right hand high, complaining to my brother and Bruce. Bro, I always feel that little dog is a bit off. It's way too aggressive. but William gave me a good scolding. Luna, if you ask me, you're the one with issues. Rice is so well behaved, he's usually gentle with everyone. I think you're the twisted one, you must have been tormenting him in secret, that's why he bit you. Bruce also sided with his brother, accusing me of being too extreme and unfit to keep pets. William said angrily, wait a few days, if you don't like Rice, I'll take it away in a few days. Never could I have imagined that just 1 month after my birthday banquet, that morning when I woke up, I suddenly realized I had somehow ended up living inside a dog's body. And a woman who looked exactly like me was holding up a stove hook in her hand. She swung it down fiercely toward my head. I barked desperately, but what came out in the end was a series of woof 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 sounds. Then, my eldest brother and Bruce appeared. The two of them held boning knives in their hands, ready to skin and deb one me. Only then did I realize, Alice was never sent abroad by them. Instead, they used some method to suppress her soul inside the little teddy dog's body. Big Brother and Bruce went to such great lengths. I just wanted Alice to take over my body, to help Alice be reborn. I am William's own younger sister, I am Bruce's betrothed since before birth, yet these two men closest to me, for Alice's sake, not only personally flayed and dismembered me, they even stewed my flesh and bones into a large pot of fragrant hot pot, to nourish Alice's body. Suddenly snapped back to reality. Seeing William and Bruce before me, I curved my lips into a faint smile. Big Brother, Bruce is really sorry, I got too worked up earlier, that's why I scared this little dog. This little dog is so adorable. Big Bro, thank you for the gift. As I spoke, I cuddled the little teddy in my arms, then, I secretly gave the little teddy a hard pinch. The little teddy let out an ear-piercing, woof woof bark. I frowned slightly. Is this dog crazy or what? Why is it barking all the time? My brother dodged the dog with concern. It's all because you're so clumsy, can't even hold a pet properly. Alright, I'll take Rice upstairs first. I'll put her on your bed. At that moment, the eldest brother turned his head and gave Bruce a look. Bruce immediately pulled out a jade pendant from his pants pocket. The jade was pure white and flawless, shaped like an ordinary peace knot. Luna, this is the gift I prepared for you. This peace buckle is quite valuable. We're about to get married. Let me help you put it around your neck, and you must never take it off. Bruce repeatedly emphasized that I must wear the peace buckle every day until our wedding. As he spoke, he eagerly fastened the peace buckle around my neck. At this moment, I reach out and touch this peace knot. The jade feels icy cold, startling me and making my hair stand on end. In my past life, on my birthday, my eldest brother gave me a small teddy dog, while Bruce gifted me this very peace knot. Presumably, in my past life, I ended up swapping bodies with the teddy. This peace knot must have played a significant role in that. I remained silent on the surface and slowly returned to my room. By now, that little teddy had completely trashed my room. There was a clearly visible yellow urine stain on my pillow. All the cosmetics on the dressing table had been knocked to the floor. Even in the water cup I usually drink from, there was actually a pile of dog poop soaking. Without saying a word, I grabbed the little poodle by the scruff of its neck and smacked its head hard over a dozen times. The little poodle yelped, woof woof, from my beating. I glared fiercely at the damn animal. You damn thing, if you dare to cause trouble again, I'll skin you, break your bones, and stew you into a fragrant hot pot. The little teddy seemed scared by my beating, whimpering pitifully twice. Its eyes held a trace of fear. Just then, my elder brother and Bruce suddenly burst into my room. My elder brother snatched the little teddy from my hands. Luna, you've gone too far. How could you mistreat Rice? It's just a little puppy. I heard Rice whimpering pitifully just now. To be so cruel to a small dog. You're simply inhuman, Big Brother scolded angrily, his eyes reddening with heartache. Right now, I'm pointing at the shattered cosmetics all over the floor, the messy bed, and the dog poop in the teacup. What do you mean I'm bullying a dog? Just look at the mess this damn animal has made. William, if you care so much about this dog, why don't you eat that poop yourself? As I spoke, I picked up the teacup and was about to pour it into William's mouth. My elder brother tensed up in fright, desperately turning his head away. Then, with a sudden movement, he knocked the teacup to the ground. Oh dear. Rice just arrived at our home and is naturally a bit shy. Why are you picking a fight with a dog? Big Brother could only comfort me with soft words, though helplessly. They're just a few cosmetics, I'll buy you new ones, and as for your bed sheets and quilt covers, I'll get you 10 more sets, all in silk. Luna, you must treat Rice better, otherwise, don't blame me for not acknowledging you as my sister anymore. I smacked the little poodle on the head twice right in front of my elder brother, still hoping this beast would understand some human decency. Otherwise, don't blame me for being impolite, a mere dog trying to climb over my head, simply a dog's delusional dream. Bruce saw my fierce expression. He puffed up angrily and muttered under his breath, I really don't know how Uncle Smith and Aunt Smith could raise such a fierce and unreasonable daughter. Alice is much gentler, with the demeanor of a proper young lady. Although Bruce's voice was very low, I still heard every single word clearly. I raised my hand and slapped Bruce across the face. You like Alice so much, why don't you go abroad to find her, go die with her, what's the point of being engaged to me? Bruce was filled with anger but didn't dare to act on it. After all, he and my eldest brother know what they're doing. At this critical moment, they absolutely must not offend me. At the very least, they should wait until a month later. Bruce forced a smile. Luna, you've misunderstood, you are the only one in my heart. Just make sure to wear the jade pendant I gave you properly around your neck. A month from now, I'll have another big surprise for you. As for my eldest brother, he remained silent, only repeatedly reminding me, there's some newly bought Wagyu beef and seafood in the fridge. Rice is a show-grade dog, so his daily diet must be exquisite. He only drinks pure milk and eats Wagyu beef. When I'm not at home, you must take good care of Rice. As soon as my elder brother and Bruce left the room, I immediately ordered an iron chain and several packs of the cheapest, low-quality dog food online. You damn animal, still dreaming of Wagyu beef, why don't you go eat shit instead? I glared fiercely at the little poodle. It seemed to sense my hostility and hid in the corner, but that dog's gaze remained sinister when looking at me, as if there was some blood feud between us, like I'd killed its father. Wait for the delivery guy to bring the chain and dog food. I immediately tied up the little poodle and locked it in the bathroom. A mere animal still wants to sleep on the bed. As for eating Wagyu beef, that's just a pipe dream. Dogs should eat dog food, especially the kind that promotes weight gain, the hormone-laden dog food. Otherwise, how can a puppy grow plump and win its owner's affection? From then on, my workaholic older brother, who was usually buried in work, would come home and stay for a few hours almost every day. Even the usually aloof Bruce started dropping by my house every now and then. After not seeing each other for a few days, both of them noticed the little teddy had lost a significant amount of weight. My brother held the little teddy in his arms, crying heartbrokenly. Bruce even secretly whispered to the little teddy, Alice, just endure a little longer. In just a month, you can switch bodies with Luna. When that time comes, the two of us will get married, and everything will fall into place. You can truly become Brother William's sister, and the two of you siblings can reunite. Through the surveillance in the room, I heard Bruce say these words. Only then did I suddenly realize with a shock. So, Alice was indeed my brother's biological sister. Although William and I share the same bloodline, we do not have the same mother. Back then, my father broke up with his first love and then turned around to marry my mother. Never in a million years did we expect that. Just 3 months after their marriage, my father's first love would show up at our house, holding a little boy in her arms. That first love claimed the little boy was my father's own flesh and blood, but my father kept swearing to heaven he was with his first love for half a year. Yet they never had any physical intimacy, until that first love admitted to sneaking into my father's bed after he had been drinking. Although my mother was furious at the time, she still agreed to let my father take a paternity test with that little boy. The paternity test results confirmed that the little boy was indeed my father's biological child. My mother, being a generous person, took the little boy into our home and raised him as her own son. That little boy was William, however. From that moment on, my father's first love never appeared again. Could it be that William secretly got in touch with his biological mother and then brought home his other half-sister from a different father? My heart was filled with unease as I secretly saved the surveillance video from my phone, then prepared to find someone to investigate. Meanwhile, even if my eldest brother and Bruce noticed that I wasn't treating the little poodle well, they still didn't dare to show anything on the surface. My eldest brother kept giving Bruce meaningful looks, urging him to continue waiting. Once the 1-month deadline arrived, their grand plan could be completed. Naturally, I couldn't just sit back and wait for disaster to strike. I secretly asked a friend to custom make an identical peace buckle for me. As for the original peace buckle, I wrapped it in gold, shaping it into a square amulet. Taking this opportunity, I also contacted several dog farms. Until I discovered that one of the dog farms was extremely unregulated. There are over 100 wild dogs kept inside, all of them have skin diseases, their eyes are bloodshot, making them look like rabid dogs. These dogs, both male and female, are tortured beyond recognition, as thin as praying mantises. I asked the dog farm owner, how much does it cost to breed a dog? The dog farm owner was a bald, burly man. Seeing me dressed in luxurious attire, he immediately quoted an exorbitant price. At least 30,000. I smiled calmly and casually transferred 50,000. Next, I showed the photo of the little teddy to the kennel owner. This is the little teddy, a show-quality dog. You need to find a way to make it breed as much as possible. Breed it to death, ideally. It should have 10 puppies in one litter. So, any ideas? The bald boss pointed at the hundreds of rabid dogs in the kennel. Our factory has so many breeds of dogs, breeding more won't be a problem, but this little poodle is so small. In my opinion, we'll need to give it some strong medicine, the boss said as he handed me a bag of pink powder. This is the strongest animal performance enhancer, just give it to the teddy, guaranteed to boost her energy, then put her in my kennel for just one day. I guarantee she'll get pregnant. I took the Dolly powder and happily went home. I specially fried a piece of A5 grade Wagyu beef. Didn't my elder brother keep urging me to feed the little teddy dog meat, so naturally I had to fulfill his wish. I was frying a steak in a pan while pouring a generous amount of Dolly powder into it. The Dolly powder mixed with the scent of butter. Instantly, the entire kitchen was filled with a strange aroma somewhat resembling curry. After finishing cooking, I set the steak aside to cool, just sat down at the dining table, ready to take a sip of water. As I brought the cup to my lips, I suddenly noticed a pungent, fishy smell coming from inside. Moreover, there was a faint yellowish stain around the rim of the cup. I immediately knew. It must have been that little teddy's doing again. It must have been that little teddy again, splashing dog pee into my water cup, but I clearly tied that dog up in the bathroom when I left in the morning. How on earth did it get out? Right at this moment, a familiar figure flashed behind me. Oh my, you must be Miss Luna, right? I'm the part-time housekeeper hired by the young master. My surname is Duncan. You can just call me Auntie Duncan, Kathy Duncan. In my past life, it was also at this exact time, my eldest brother hired a part-time housekeeper, saying she was responsible for taking care of me. My parents have been quite busy with work, and they went abroad on a business trip 2 months ago. We originally had a housekeeper at home, but last month, for some unknown reason, the old housekeeper insisted on resigning no matter what. Since then, the huge villa has been left with only me in it, because I've always preferred peace and quiet. I didn't hire anyone else. Occasionally, I would call a cleaning company to send an hourly worker to tidy up the place. In my previous life, it was today, my elder brother invited Aunt Duncan back home, saying she would work 5 hours a day, specifically to take care of my daily needs. But Aunt Duncan wasn't a good cook, and she just went through the motions with me every day. I asked her to do my laundry, but the clothes still had obvious stains after washing. Aunt Duncan's house wasn't kept particularly clean either. Her daily routine consisted solely of walking the dog. She would prepare beef for the little teddy in various ways, and even went so far as to make pork bone soup for it. In my previous life, I never noticed anything unusual until the moment of my death. Now that I think about it carefully, this Kathy Duncan, her facial features bear some resemblance to Alice's, and Aunt Duncan also had a pair of shallow dimples on her cheeks. This was exactly the same as Alice. Dimples are genetic traits. Could it be that the Kathy Duncan before me and Alice are somehow related? Thinking this way, I didn't say much more. I nodded slightly and asked the Kathy Duncan in front of me, "Did you see the dog I tied up in the bathroom?" When I mentioned the dog, a hint of pity flashed in Kathy Duncan's eyes. "Oh, yes, I saw it. The poor little thing looked so pitiful, so I untied its chain. Now Rice is playing in your room." I didn't say much, just told Kathy Duncan to quickly clean up the restaurant. Then, I carried the steak upstairs to the second floor. Back in my bedroom, I saw that my sheets and duvet cover were once again covered in the little poodle's urine and feces. Even some of my high-end clothes in the wardrobe were full of holes chewed by that little beast, with yellowish urine stains all over them. The little teddy today has shiny fur, tender and white, clearly just bathed. Seeing the mess all over the house, I didn't get angry at first. Instead, I placed the steak in my hand in front of that damn animal. TCH, a damn animal, and my big brother insists on asking you about A5 Wagyu. Fine, eat up. Why don't you just choke on it? What a waste of such a fine piece of beef. As I spoke, I slammed the plate onto the bed. Then, I pretended to sit nearby, playing with my phone as if nothing had happened. Meanwhile, the corner of my eye kept glancing at that little poodle. The little beast circled around the plate a few times, sniffing the scent. These past few days, I've only been feeding it dog food, but the little teddy refused to eat. The creature has already lost a lot of weight from hunger. Now, it finally saw some premium beef. The little teddy sniffed a few times, then wagged its tail and started devouring the meal heartily. Seeing this, I smirked. Immediately after, I sent a text to my friend, asking him to help investigate Kathy Duncan's background. What we found was shocking. Ignorance was bliss until the truth came out. In just a few short hours, my friend had dug up every last detail of Kathy Duncan's file. This Kathy Duncan is actually my eldest brother's biological mother. Not only that, she is also Alice's birth mother. It turns out that back then, after Kathy Duncan left my eldest brother with the Smith family, she never left B City. Instead, she worked at a factory in the suburbs of B City and married a factory worker. Not long after, Kathy Duncan gave birth to Alice. Alice and my eldest brother William are full siblings, sharing the same mother but different fathers. 3 years ago, Kathy Duncan's husband got into a quarrel with another customer over a prostitute in the red light district while soliciting prostitution. Kathy Duncan's husband acted recklessly, smashing the other John's head, damaging his nerves and leaving him permanently paralyzed from the neck down. After that, the man was sent to prison. Kathy Duncan was also fired by the factory, completely losing her means of livelihood. Meanwhile, over the years, Kathy Duncan had been secretly messaging my eldest brother, who pitted his biological mother, felt even more sympathy for his sister Alice, so he brought Alice home, claiming she was an orphan and a financially struggling student. Then he pressured my parents to adopt Alice as their foster daughter, and she came to live in our home. Understanding these circumstances, I remained calm. That evening, I waited until Kathy Duncan got off work. Once again, I tied up the little teddy. And this time, I didn't just give it that strength-enhancing powder, I even bought a syringe, diluted the dolly powder into a liquid form, and injected it bit by bit into its body. By around 10 p.m., the little teddy was lying on the ground, panting heavily. At the same time, I contacted the owner of the dog breeding farm and directly sent the little teddy there. In the blink of an eye, it was already the next morning. I had just woken up when I noticed Kathy Duncan had already arrived at the villa. She was holding a cleaning cloth, ready to enter my room to tidy up. I deliberately placed the gold amulet containing the peace buckle on the bedside table. Kathy Duncan has sticky fingers. In my previous life, when she worked as a part-time cleaner in my home, I caught her tampering with many of my jewelry pieces. I let Kathy Duncan into the room and asked her to tidy up my dressing table first. As soon as the dressing table drawer was pulled open, it was filled to the brim with gold and silver jewelry, making Kathy Duncan's eyes gleam with excitement. I took the massive golden Buddha amulet and dangled it in front of Kathy Duncan's eyes. "Auntie Duncan, do you like gold?" Kathy Duncan was momentarily stunned by my question. "I do like it." I casually placed the Buddhist amulet into Kathy Duncan's hand. "Then it's yours." This Buddha amulet was given to me by a classmate a few days ago on my birthday. Although gold is valuable, it's just too tacky. Besides, I'm already wearing the piece knot that Brother Bruce gave me around my neck. You have no idea. Brother Bruce is actually my fiancé. He put a lot of thought into giving me this precious gift. As I spoke, I deliberately ran my fingers over the fake piece knot pendant around my neck. Kathy Duncan saw this and nodded in satisfaction. She couldn't help but give me a reminder. "Oh, this jade pendant is truly beautiful. It looks incredibly valuable at first glance. Miss Smith, you must carry this with you every day. If you lose it, your fiancé will surely be heartbroken." As soon as Kathy Duncan heard that I was going to give her the amulet, she couldn't wait to hang that piece of gold around her neck. Then, Kathy Duncan walked around the house with a cloth, looking here and there. Finally, she cautiously asked me, "Miss Smith, where is the dog at home? Why haven't I seen Rice?" I frowned instantly. "Aunt Duncan, am I your master, or is that dog your master? I gave that dog away, so stop looking for it." As I spoke, I stretched contentedly. Upon hearing this, Kathy Duncan stamped her feet in frustration, but she didn't dare show any reaction in front of me. Then, Kathy Duncan took her phone and sneaked into the kitchen to make a call. About half an hour later, Both William and Bruce arrived one after another. No sooner had William stepped into the house than he couldn't wait to shout, "Luna, come out right now, where did you send Rice?" Bruce's eyes were also blazing with anger. "Luna, you're utterly heartless. Little Rice is so adorable. Why must you target it specifically?" At this moment, the more frantic William and Bruce became, the more I wanted to laugh inside. I sat on the soft sofa and said nonchalantly, "It's just a beast. Why are you all so anxious?" William grabbed my wrist fiercely, glaring at me. "Speak up. Who did you give Rice to?" I shrugged my shoulders. "Eaten, skinned, deboned, and stewed into a delicious hot pot." My eyes were filled with playful laughter. Upon hearing this, Bruce was so frightened he nearly fainted. William, on the other hand, was smarter. He knew that I never eat dog meat. "Luna, stop fooling around. If you really don't like Rice, I'll come pick it up in a few days. Just tell me quickly, where did you send it?" My red lips parted slightly. Since it's a female dog, and a valuable show class one at that, I naturally wanted to breed more. Rice is at the dog farm in the suburbs. By now, she should have already become a mother. Hearing my words, Bruce's vision darkened, and he nearly fainted on the spot. Kathy Duncan was so anxious that tears streamed down her face. On the contrary, William was the calmest. He immediately rushed out of the villa, dashed into the car, and prepared to go to the kennel to bring Rice back. However, the price I offered to that kennel owner wasn't low. When I had the kennel owner take the little teddy away last night, I specifically instructed that I wanted the breeding to happen that very night. The sooner, the better. Naturally, I couldn't miss such a scene. I was also driving, following right behind William's car. Bruce was driving with Kathy Duncan, and the few of us headed straight to the dog kennel. Once inside, all we could see was the little teddy dog surrounded by dozens of wild dogs in the very center. The little teddy had taken some potent stimulant and had been tormented all night long. By now, it was foaming at the mouth, lying weakly in the middle. Seeing this, Bruce anxiously grabbed a stick and started swinging at the wild dogs surrounding the little teddy. Unfortunately, there were too many wild dogs in the kennel. Bruce had just picked up a weapon for attack. Now, a pack of wild dogs was charging toward him. Even though both Bruce and William resisted, they couldn't hold off the sheer number of dogs in the kennel. Bruce was bitten on the thigh by a black Tibetan Mastiff. William also had a chunk of flesh torn from his arm by a large yellow dog. In the end, it was the kennel owner who stepped in to intervene. At the boss's whistle, these stray dogs immediately returned to their cages as if they could understand human speech. At this moment, both Bruce and William were injured. Yet they remained extremely worried about the little teddy. Bruce ignored the wound on his thigh and instead rushed the little teddy to the pet hospital for a checkup first. The two men were so worked up over a dog that they seemed almost crazed. This scene is simply fun and hilarious. Bruce and William worked hard all day for this dog. Meanwhile, I leisurely returned to the villa alone to sleep soundly. I know the timing isn't right yet. No matter what I do, neither of them will lay a finger on me. That evening, William carried the little teddy bear home alone. His face was gloomy, clearly showing signs of having cried. I'm afraid William must have harbored deep hatred for me at that moment, yet he still dared not resort to violence. Speaking to me only in a gentle tone, "Luna, I'm warning you not to cause any more trouble. Take care of Rice for 1 more month, and I'll send her away. You're not allowed to take her to the dog pound. Otherwise, I'll fight you to the death." I raised my eyebrows with an air of nonchalance. "It's just a dog. If you don't trust me, take it away now." But William went berserk, roaring like crazy. "No, it seems my hunch was almost right. To swap bodies with Alice, I don't just need to wear that piece knot around my neck for a month. Alice must stay by my side every single day for this entire month." So, a brilliant idea suddenly came to me. "Hey, didn't you hire a part-time helper? Tomorrow, just pay Aunt Duncan extra to stay at our place. From now on, let Aunt Duncan take full care of Rice." Hearing my words, William finally breathed a sigh of relief. Early the next morning, Kathy Duncan moved into my home, solely responsible for taking care of that little beast. Kathy Duncan truly treated that little beast as if it were her own daughter. She bathed it, combed its fur, and even tied a pretty pink bow around its neck. In the blink of an eye, a month had passed. Early that morning, William and Bruce couldn't wait to rush into my room. Bruce ran to the bedside and pulled me into his arms. "Alice, it worked. It finally worked. You're finally back by my side. It's wonderful, Alice." At this very moment, I rolled my eyes dramatically at Bruce. Then I shoved him away abruptly, raising my hand. I slapped him hard across the face. You damn pervert. Are you out of your mind? Bruce, I'm warning you, even though we're engaged, we're not married yet, and I won't allow you to act like a creep, hearing the tone in my voice. Bruce looked terrified. You're Luna. I twirled a strand of my hair around my finger. Duh, if I'm not Luna, then who am I? Your mom. Bruce exchanged an extremely astonished glance with William. He muttered under his breath, how is this possible? William grabbed Bruce's wrist and whispered, don't act rashly yet. It might not be the right time. Upon hearing this, Bruce glared at me fiercely. Then, he suddenly began tearing at my clothes. Only when he saw the peace amulet still hanging around my neck did Bruce finally relax. Shortly after, the two of them left my room. I changed my clothes and waited for the show to begin. The first thing these two did after leaving the room was naturally to go to the nanny's quarters to see that little poodle. I even noticed Bruce had a hemp rope tied around his waist, so he was this eager to deal with me. He even prepared a hemp rope in advance, as the two arrived at the nanny's room. The door had just been pushed open. At that very moment, Kathy Duncan came bouncing out of the room. Kathy Duncan instantly leaped into Bruce's arms. Brother Bruce, we did it, Kathy Duncan spoke while clutching a bloody hook in her hand. A mischievous grin spread across Kathy Duncan's face. We finally made it. Early this morning, I discovered I could speak human language. I have hands, I have legs, and I've already taken care of that beast, that damn dog. This morning as soon as I got up, it actually dared to bark at me. I used a hook to dig into its head and gouged out its eyeballs, Kathy Duncan said with great enthusiasm, completely unaware of the shocked expressions in Bruce and William's eyes. At the same time, Bruce roughly pushed Kathy Duncan away. You old woman, what on earth do you want? Old woman, what old woman? Kathy Duncan looked utterly bewildered. At that moment, only William caught on. William rushed into the nanny's room and saw the bloodied teddy dog on the floor. William let out a heart-wrenching scream. Ah, Mom. Hearing William call for his mom, Kathy Duncan was also stunned. She hurriedly ran into the bathroom to look in the mirror. When she saw her own face, Alice was completely stunned. How did I turn into my mom's appearance? What's going on here, right now? Standing upstairs, I'm so excited I could laugh. I clapped for them with great pride. Hey, Aunt Duncan. Didn't you just adore Rice? How could you go and kill that damn dog? Bro, you're really ridiculous. Calling a female dog mom, could it be that you were born of a bitch? Faced with such a situation, they finally realized, everyone had been fooled by me. Bruce shook his head frantically. How is this possible? That peace buckle. I yanked the jade pendant from my neck. You mean this? The one around my neck is made of stone. Can't you all tell? As for the real one. Of course I wrapped it in gold and gave it to Aunt Duncan, and at this moment, Kathy Duncan, no, to be precise, it should be Alice. Alice crouched on the ground, weeping as the breeze swayed. You can only exchange lives once. Does this mean I'll have to live with this aged body for the rest of my life? Luna, I want you dead. It's all your fault. Meanwhile, William was so agitated that he coughed up blood. After all, his biological mother had been brutally mutilated by his own sister with a stove hook, her flesh torn apart, and both eyeballs gouged out. The three of them charged up the stairs like madmen, determined to take me down with them. At that moment, I lightly clapped my hands. Several burly men in black immediately rushed out from my room. These black-clad strong men were bodyguards I had hired in advance, hidden upstairs in my house. The group of well-trained bodyguards quickly subdued William, Bruce, and Kathy Duncan with a few punches and kicks, pinning them to the ground. Even so, William continued laughing like a madman. Luna, your triumph won't last long. Let me tell you, your parents are about to die. The entire Smith Group is under my control. I am the sole heir. On the day I take over the Smith Group, I will personally kill you to avenge my mother. At that moment, a stern voice rang out from the villa's entrance. William, who are you going to kill? The speaker was none other than my father. It turned out that William and Bruce, among others, were scheming not just against me, but also against my father and mother. In my previous life, after my death, my father and mother never made it back from their trip. William had bribed my father's driver. While my parents were on a business trip, the driver deliberately staged a car accident, killing both of them. In this life, the first thing I did after being reborn was to contact my parents. I trusted them 100% and even told them all about my experiences from my previous life. As a result, my parents were already on high alert. They also cut their business trip short and immediately rushed back to B City, seeing my parents standing safely and soundly at the door. William shook his head frantically like a madman. It's over, everything is ruined this time. As for my father, he was even more furious with this illegitimate child. William, you've utterly disappointed me. Luna is your own sister, yet you actually wanted to kill her. All these years, Aunt Ma and I have nurtured you with such care, and you wanted to kill us. William roared like a madman. Bob, don't think I don't know. You've always been the most biased. You nurtured me, only to make me a subordinate. All the family's wealth you intend to hand over to that little girl Luna. Why? Just because my mother came from the countryside, you abandoned her. Just because I'm not the son of this despicable woman, that's why you're so blatantly biased towards Luna. I will kill you, this ungrateful wolf, kill all of you. At this moment, my father let out a helpless sigh. William, you're truly as vicious as your biological mother. Back then, I never even dated your biological mother. And you're not actually my son, you're my brother's flesh and blood. But because my brother died young, and your mother was already pregnant, I had no choice but to claim you. I told people I'd dated your mother, all just to give you a home. William heard my father's words and shook his head frantically. No, it's impossible. This can't be. It's not true. My father was utterly disappointed with William. He immediately ordered the bodyguards to kick him out of the house. As for Bruce, the White family's business has always relied on our Smith group. With just a flick of my father's finger, the White family declared bankruptcy in less than a month. The entire Bruce family was reduced to begging on the streets. Although Alice had taken over Kathy Duncan's body, Kathy Duncan was already advanced in age and suffering from cancer. Within a few months, Kathy Duncan also passed away in the hospital. In the blink of an eye, I received an acceptance letter from a prestigious foreign university. I'm planning to study abroad, majoring in finance, so I can take over the family business when I return. As for that dead dog named Rice, in the end, I still made it into a fragrant meat hot pot. It's just that I've never eaten dog meat in my life. I sent that hot pot to the dog farm. Let the original soup digest the original meal. Leave the fragrant meat pot for those wild dogs to savor. After hearing the first story above, what are your thoughts? Feel free to share your opinions in the comments section. Next, there is another similar story. Let's continue to see. My parents and brother blindly dote on the fake heiress, but it doesn't matter. I'll confront them head on. While I was standing at attention on the sports field under the scorching sun, sweating profusely, I suddenly heard my name called over the loudspeaker. Freshman Wendy Lincoln from the Communications Engineering program. Please come to Office 205 in the Administration Building immediately. Freshman Wendy Lincoln from the Communications Engineering program. Please come to Office 205 in the Administration Building immediately. Freshman Wendy Lincoln from the Communications Engineering program. Please come to Office 205 in the Administration Building immediately. The announcement played repeatedly, and I stood frozen, wondering what could have suddenly prompted this call. Before I could ponder further, the instructor urged me to head to the Administration Building. As I sat on the sofa in Office 205, the reality of the situation finally dawned on me. My birth parents had found me. There are 4 people in Office 205. I had already met the counselor before, but it was my first time seeing the department head in person. Previously, I had only seen photos. There was also a middle-aged couple, the man tall and upright, the woman as delicate as a willow in the wind. I guessed this couple must be my biological parents. The woman who claimed to be my biological mother grabbed my hand, tears and snot streaming down her face as she spoke haltingly. It's all because of that wicked woman Lucy. I pitied her when I saw she had lost her husband and was pregnant, so I hired her as my nanny. Who would have thought she'd be so heartless as to secretly switch you with her own daughter? If Jenny hadn't been in a car accident a few days ago and had her blood type checked, how would we have ever known? Wow. Turns out my parents are actually the renowned entrepreneur couple steering the Lincoln family group in X City. According to her, my adoptive mother used to be their family's nanny and switched her biological daughter with me. If it weren't for Jenny Lincoln being in a car accident a few days ago and her blood type not matching her family's. After all, 2 people with type O blood couldn't possibly have a child with type AB. They still wouldn't have known about the baby mix-up. No wonder I couldn't find any information about my parents in the registered database of missing children. Turns out, they never lacked a daughter right before their eyes. At this thought, my heart grew colder, yet, this elegant woman seemed completely unaware of my distance and indifference, still warmly holding my hand and asking with concern, "My poor, unfortunate daughter, How have you been all these years? Her tears fell silently. I quietly withdrew my hand from hers, gathered my thoughts, and began to speak. I lived with Lucy and her son David in Moontown, working as their maid. Growing up, I often went hungry, but it didn't matter much. I was strong, and I could thrive on whatever little food I got. Things were peaceful at first. I paused for a moment before continuing. Her son David failed to get into high school, and attending would have cost a fortune. Their family didn't have the money. Lucy heard that a family in the neighboring village had a mentally disabled son who wanted to buy a wife, so she planned to sell me to pay for David's education. Luckily, I had good connections, and someone tipped me off about it. I immediately ran to the police station to report her. When the police investigated, they discovered Lucy was actually a human trafficker. She had been involved in multiple child abduction cases in her younger days. Naturally, the police assumed I was one of her victims too. They checked the national database but couldn't find my parents, so I ended up growing up in an orphanage. Life in the orphanage was much better than living with Lucy, though. I had enough to eat, warm clothes, and access to education. The police captain who cracked the case, Officer Tang Zhen, always looked out for me. His daughter, Tang Sarah, became a close friend of mine. We even attended this military academy together. Right now, she's probably fretting like a frantic monkey, wondering what's happened to me. At this thought, I couldn't help but feel a warmth in my heart. But facing this unfamiliar couple, I ultimately suppressed that warmth. Indeed, upon hearing the word orphanage, a fleeting look of heartache appeared on the faces of the Lincoln couple. After a long pause, the tall and upright man finally spoke. You've had a hard time all these years. Come home with us now. But, the man paused, as if considering something, and eventually said, Jenny is also our daughter, raised by us since childhood. After you return, you must get along well with her. Your mother and I have already decided. We'll say you were frail as a child and had to be raised in the countryside, and now you've returned after getting into university. I listened to him making arrangements for my life on his own, struggling hard to suppress my laughter. Poor health, getting into military school. I glanced at my department head and instructor, both seasoned military officers who were also having trouble keeping straight faces. Mr. Lincoln cleared his throat and spoke again. We'll discuss these details later. In any case, when you return home, you must get along well with Jenny. What? Get along well? Get along well with whom? Get along well with the biological daughter of the woman who abused me since childhood. My expression darkened as I said, there are hardships I don't wish to share with everyone, but some people shouldn't push their luck. Perhaps because he had never seen anyone dare to defy him like this. Mr. Lincoln was furious, raising his voice a notch. If you still want to go home, listen carefully to what I say. We can't abandon the daughter we've raised for years just because of you. That's right, Wendy. Lucy may be detestable, but Jenny has done nothing wrong. Mrs. Lincoln seized the moment to chime in. Likely because she, too, had grown deeply attached to her adopted daughter and didn't want my return to separate them. Fine. She's not at fault. I am, all right. It's all my fault for making her leave her family and live as this pampered young lady all these years. Should I bow to her in apology? My sarcasm was dripping with venom, and the two of them seemed thoroughly provoked by my words. Ungrateful child. Mr. Lincoln suddenly raised his voice several notches. If you refuse to acknowledge Jenny, then we won't acknowledge you either. That's fine too, I said with relief. Anyway, I don't want to acknowledge as my parents those who forced me to get along with the daughter of the criminals who oppressed and abused me. After speaking, I turned to salute my counselor and the department head, saying, freshman in communication engineering, Wendy Lincoln, requesting to return to military training. Approved, as the department head's resonant voice fell. I left office 205 without another glance at that couple, yet in the end, I still returned to the Lincoln family. That day, as soon as I stepped out of the administration building, I saw Sarah, retired Officer Tom, and Sarah's brother Kevin waiting for me on the open ground in front of the building. I wondered, what was all this fuss about? Wendy, I heard everything. Your parents are really unbelievable. Sarah rushed over and hugged me, looking even more upset than if she had been wronged herself. I patted her back to comfort her. It's fine, I didn't acknowledge them. They can't upset me. Let's not talk here. Let's find a place to chat properly. It was Sarah's brother Kevin who spoke. Wow, it's been years since I last saw him. How did this guy turn out so handsome, tall, good-looking, and with such a pleasant voice? Yes, we should still talk to your academic advisor and department head about this matter, Uncle Tom chimed in. I was puzzled. Why did we need to involve my academic advisor and department head? We returned to the administration building and waited in another office. After my biological parents were escorted out by my academic advisor and department head, the six of us, me, Sarah, Sarah's brother, Uncle Tom, my academic advisor, and the department head, finally sat down together. At last, I understood their intentions. Turns out, Sarah's brother followed in his father's footsteps and became a police officer. He was currently investigating a case involving the Lincoln family's alleged tax evasion. They had received information that I was the biological daughter of the Lincoln family and wanted me to infiltrate them to gather useful evidence. In the end, I would be personally rewarded based on my contributions. At that moment, Sarah tugged at my sleeve and whispered to me, "I heard it's at least a personal third-class merit." My eyes widened. Do you know how incredibly appealing a personal third-class merit is to a passionate young soldier in peacetime? Hearing this, I hesitated no longer and quickly declared, "Rest assured, organization, communications engineering Wendy Lincoln, mission guaranteed to be accomplished." With the school's coordination, I was able to return to the Lincoln residence every weekend. Standing before the Lincoln family's dazzlingly luxurious villa, I was momentarily stunned. If I hadn't been swapped, this would have been the life I was living now. Is that my little sister back? Unsurprisingly, the speaker must have been Jenny Lincoln, Lucy's biological daughter. Jenny Lincoln wore a simple white gown that accentuated her ethereal beauty, a testament to how well she had been pampered. Yet, the calculating glint in her brows was unmistakably identical to her birth mother's. Seeing that I remained unresponsive, she continued speaking as if to herself. "Little sister has returned. I know it's time for me to leave. You must despise me, so I'll pack my things and go now." With that, she covered her mouth as if on the verge of tears and turned to rush toward the Lincoln family villa. The entire Lincoln family tensed up. Mr. and Mrs. Lincoln, who had just brought me home, stood by my side, too late to stop their beloved adopted daughter, but their son was close enough. Jack swiftly reached out and grabbed Jenny Lincoln as she tried to leave, indignantly declaring, "Jenny, you're not going anywhere." He then shot me a furious glare. "You're the only sister I recognize. Some stray from who knows where has no right to call herself a daughter of the Lincoln family." I laughed in exasperation and said, "It was Mr. and Mrs. Lynn who asked me to come back. If you want to know where this bastard came from, go ask them directly." With that, I walked straight into the house, but not before turning to Mr. and Mrs. Lincoln to say, "Since she agrees to leave too, hurry up and get her out of here. Every time I see your adopted daughter's face, I'm reminded of her human trafficker mother." Yes, I had negotiated terms with them. My return was conditional on Jenny Lincoln leaving. There was no way I could live under the same roof as the daughter of a human trafficker. Originally, I had planned to exploit their desperation to keep their daughter, but to my surprise, Mr. Lincoln agreed. Though Mrs. Lincoln was reluctant to part with Jenny Lincoln, it was clear she obeyed her husband unconditionally. Sigh, "I'll just have to find another opportunity." I had barely finished speaking when I heard Jack's roar and Jenny Lincoln's sobs. "Mom, Dad, are you really sending Jenny away?" Jack couldn't believe it. He had originally intended to put me in my place, but never expected. Jenny Lincoln was crying uncontrollably. She had only meant to retreat in order to advance, but never anticipated. After a long while, Mr. Lincoln finally spoke. "Jenny, move to the small villa nearby first. Nanny Wong, go pack Mrs. belongings. Try to move there today." After saying this, Mr. Lincoln turned and entered the villa. Mrs. Lincoln, afraid her children would pester her to intercede, followed her husband inside. Only Jack and Jenny Lincoln remained, with tears in her eyes. Jenny Lincoln clutched Jack's forearm, sobbing, "Brother, what should I do? Do Mom and Dad really not want me anymore? Does my little sister really hate me so much? Even though my birth mother switched us, didn't my mother raise her too? Does she have to hate me so much that she has to drive me out? I really wish our whole family could be together. Don't worry, I'll definitely find a way to keep you here." With that, he instructed the servants nearby. "Anyone who dares to help the eldest young lady pack her things can pack their own bags and leave." After glaring fiercely at the surrounding servants to ensure no one dared to defy him, Jack finally took Jenny Lincoln's hand and led her through the villa's front door. As soon as I entered the room, I found the most comfortable position on the sofa, casually propping my legs up on the coffee table, and asked nonchalantly, "So, where am I staying?" Hearing this, Mr. and Mrs. Lincoln's faces flushed with embarrassment, while Jenny Lincoln still timidly hid behind Jack. As for Jack, he looked so furious it seemed he was about to explode any second. Wendy can stay in the guest room tonight. Choose whichever one you like, Mrs. Lincoln tried to mediate, but I wasn't having any of it. Which one do I like? Of course, I'd prefer your precious daughter's room, I taunted, glaring at Jenny Lincoln, who was hiding behind Jack, eager to see her reaction, unexpectedly. It was Jack who lost his temper first. Keep dreaming, you country bumpkin. How dare you covet Jenny's things? Let me tell you, you're not worthy of anything belonging to Jenny. You hear me? If you know what's good for you, crawl back into the gutter where you belong and stay there like the rat you are. Don't embarrass yourself out here, Jack shouted at me furiously, while Jenny Lincoln tugged at him from behind. Brother, stop talking. I'll give her anything she likes. Please don't argue because of me. Woo 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 woo. Jenny, don't cry. You're the only sister I have. I don't acknowledge anyone but you. Watching their deep sibling affection, I couldn't hold back anymore. I turned to Mr. and Mrs. Lincoln and asked, "Didn't you tell him where I'm from?" Then I turned to Jack. "I attended a military academy. As a national defense student, I'm going to contribute to the country's defense in the future, so watch your words." Perhaps my gaze was too sharp, because the two of them, who had been immersed in their sibling drama, froze in place as if suddenly cut off from power. I didn't want to watch their performance, so I gave them an ultimatum. Considering I came back unexpectedly and you weren't prepared, I'll sleep in the guest room tonight. If my room isn't ready by tomorrow, don't blame me for doing something you can't handle. And you? I tilted my chin toward Jenny Lincoln. If I still see you here tomorrow, don't blame me for doing something you can't handle either. With that, I followed the servant and found a random guest room to rest in. Military training was quite exhausting, so before I came back, I told them I needed to sleep first and not to wake me. When I opened my eyes again, it was already past 11 p.m. Feeling a bit thirsty, I stepped out of the guest room to get some water. As soon as I opened the door, I saw Jenny Lincoln standing guard not far away. Wow! She was really lying in wait for me. "Little sister, I beg you, please don't kick me out." Jenny Lincoln tried to grab me as soon as she saw me come out. I quickly spoke up, "Enough already, there's no one else here. Aren't you tired of acting?" Hearing this, Jenny Lincoln's face turned pale and then flushed with anger. Finally, she dropped the act and said bitterly, "Why did you come back? You were perfectly fine being a lowly person. Why did you have to come and steal what's mine? Why?" With that, she collapsed onto the ground as if I had pushed her. My eyes widened in shock. Good grief, was this the kind of trip over nothing you only see in romance novels? "Please don't hit me, sister, I won't dare anymore. I'll move out right away. Please don't hit me." Jenny Lincoln might not be physically strong, but her voice was certainly loud. In no time, the Lincoln couple, their precious son, and most of the servants had all come out, surrounding us. The first to lose his temper was Jack. "How dare you hit Jenny? Jenny is so kind, so delicate, you vicious woman." He was shouting even more noisily than Jenny Lincoln, and I was so annoyed that I grabbed his wrist, flipped him over with a shoulder throw, and then stomped on his sternum. A few crisp sounds of ribs breaking followed, and the world fell silent for a brief second before erupting into Jack's pig slaughter like wails. "Ah, Jack," came Mrs. Lincoln's concerned voice. "Brother," came Jenny Lincoln's concerned voice. Seeing them both about to rush over to help Jack, I quickly spoke up, "Don't you dare move him. His ribs are broken. If you move him carelessly, the bones could puncture his organs and kill him. Go ahead if you want him dead." Jenny Lincoln and Mrs. Lincoln froze at these words. Then Mr. Lincoln's authoritative voice rang out, "What exactly are you trying to do?" "What am I trying to do? Actually, nothing much. I just wanted to show Miss Lynn here that when I hit someone, this is the minimum level of damage. If she wants to try this method again next time, she'd better be prepared to pay the price." With that, I looked down at the flustered Jenny Lincoln, unsure whether she was acting out of humiliation or genuine concern for Jack. As she angrily shouted at me, "Enough, if you have a problem, take it out on me. Why hurt my brother like this? Take it out on you." I couldn't help but let out a light laugh. Otherwise, what do you think I was just considering? Before Jack started yelling at me, all I could think was, what if I unleashed all this on you and you ended up dead? Would it even be worth it? But luckily, your brother jumped in to take the hit for you. Such touching sibling love. Maybe you two should just move out together. Jack lay on the ground waiting for the ambulance, barely breathing, while Jenny Lincoln sobbed uncontrollably beside him. Mr. Lincoln stood by, coldly observing everything. After a long silence, Mrs. Lincoln finally snapped and shouted at me, Enough, Wendy Lincoln, you've turned this house upside down the moment you returned. Let me make this clear today. Jenny isn't leaving, and neither is anyone else. Watching this noble woman, who had always endured humiliation and prioritized her husband above all else, lose her composure like this, and then glancing at Mr. Lincoln's indifferent expression, offering no explanation or response, I suddenly understood. They hadn't taken my words seriously at all. Ha, I let out a self-mocking laugh. You dangled a carrot to lure me back, and now you're trying to force me to agree. I have just one condition. Is it really impossible not to act like sisters with the daughter of a human trafficker? I told you that wasn't Jenny's fault. Mr. Lincoln finally spoke up, but I had no mind to listen. Enough, I impatiently cut off Mr. Lincoln's words. Everyone around was too terrified to make a sound, and even Jack, lying on the ground with several broken ribs, dared not groan too loudly. I didn't say anything more and went back to the guest room to pack my things. Someone outside had already called an ambulance for Jack, and everyone was waiting quietly. Just as I was about to leave, Mrs. Lincoln suddenly seemed to remember that I was her daughter. Wendy, where are you going? Don't leave. Are you trying to kill your mother? She cried bitterly, while her husband and her adopted daughter were nearby, focused on her son's condition, leaving no one free to help her. I found it quite amusing and decided to respond. Emotional blackmail, huh? Watching her hypocritical act was actually somewhat satisfying. Do you even have the shame? You gave birth to me but never taught or raised me, and then forced me to live with the daughter of the person who abused me since childhood. Perhaps my expression was too ferocious, as she was too frightened to say another word. Suddenly, I felt it was all meaningless and turned to leave the Lincoln family villa. You're just leaving like that. What about your third-class merit? Sarah and I were eating popsicles on the field, watching the soldiers training not far away. I finished mine in a few bites, tossed the stick, and said to her, "Don't worry, they'll definitely come looking for me soon. That family loves to put on a show, especially Jenny Lincoln. Without me around, how can she play the victim?" Sure enough, it wasn't long before the Lincoln family came looking for me again. Mrs. Lincoln called me back, saying they had prepared a grand banquet to welcome me home. I had no time for her pretense and directly asked, "Has Jenny Lincoln left?" "If Jenny Lincoln is gone, I'll naturally return." What responded was Mrs. Lincoln's guilty voice. "Well, you come back first, and we promise to give you a satisfactory answer." Of course, I had to go back. After all, my real goal wasn't to drive Jenny Lincoln away but just to cause them some trouble and stir up some chaos. 2 days before the banquet, the Lincoln family even specially sent me a formal dress. I didn't want to wear it at first, but then I thought, what if there's some good drama that they can't perform without me wearing it? So, with the help of my roommate, I put on that formal dress. I arrived punctually at 8 o'clock for the dinner at the Lincoln family villa. My appearance caused a brief silence, soon broken by Jenny Lincoln's exaggerated exclamation, "Wendy, you're back. How did my missing ruby brooch from last week end up with you?" Her words immediately drew scornful glances from those around us. Jenny Lincoln grew even more brazen, smugly adding, "Wendy, if you really liked this brooch, you could have just told me. I'd have given it to you. Why, take it yourself. I heard you used to live with your mother, who was a trafficker. Did you pick up this habit from her? My poor sister. Were you ever caught as a child? Did you spend time in juvenile detention?" At this, the crowd seemed to latch onto some sensational gossip. Murmuring among themselves as if I weren't even there, I couldn't hold back any longer and retorted, "Jenny Lincoln, do you even have common sense while being alive?" My words instantly silenced the previously chaotic banquet. "I attended a military academy. Did you know we require political vetting before exams?" "Political vetting? What political vetting?" Jenny Lincoln reflexively retorted. Most people around us grasped my implication and began murmuring again. Though the subject of their whispers had now shifted, I had no intention of paying any more attention to Jenny Lincoln, as it was simply foolish, so I walked straight up to Mr. and Mrs. Lincoln and asked, "Why is she still here? Didn't I tell you to send her away?" Before Mr. and Mrs. Lincoln could answer me, Jack couldn't hold back any longer. "Jenny isn't going anywhere. The reason we called you back today was to tell you that Jenny isn't leaving. If you don't like it, then don't come back to the Lincoln family." Seeing Jack still putting on a tough front in front of me, I couldn't help but ask, "Are you fully recovered?" Sure enough, Jack's expression changed dramatically. He had claimed his injury was from a horse riding fall. If people found out I was the one who beat him up, he'd lose too much face. "Don't say another word." Just then, Jenny Lincoln suddenly rushed out to shield Jack. I was going to leave anyway, but Mom and Dad persuaded me, saying that if I moved out, people would say you were raised by your foster mother and are narrow-minded, unable to tolerate me. If it weren't for you, I couldn't help but laugh out loud. What's wrong with you? If you're sick, go get treated. Stop spouting nonsense in front of me. With that, I didn't even look at her and walked straight to the microphone, saying, "Hello everyone. I presume that those who can attend this banquet are our closest relatives and friends. And you're no strangers to my identity. However, I still want to formally introduce myself. My name is Wendy Lincoln, the biological daughter of this family. Before I turned 12, I lived under the care of this family's daughter, Jenny Lincoln's biological mother. At 12, due to certain circumstances, I had her sent to prison, because my parents did not register the information in the database for abducted families. I have been living in an orphanage all these years. Nevertheless, I persevered and was admitted to a military academy through early admission with a college entrance exam score of 702. Now, I am a college student with military status. The condition for my return to this family is that Jenny Lincoln leaves this household, for no other reason than this. I still wish to contribute to our nation's defense in the future. And having Jenny Lincoln appear on the same household register as me worries me. Her biological mother's actions might affect my career. I paused for a few seconds, surveyed the surroundings, and then continued, I don't know what the current situation is, but as far as I'm concerned, there's no room for negotiation on this matter. With that, I turned to Mr. and Mrs. Lincoln and said, I don't know what your intentions are, but if you truly can't bear to part with Jenny Lincoln, we can simply go back to how things were before. After all, you weren't there to offer me any help during my most difficult times. After speaking, I turned back to the crowd, completely disregarding the varied expressions on the faces of the Lincoln family members, and continued, as you can all see, given my biological parents' fondness for Jenny Lincoln, today is probably the first and last time I'll be meeting with everyone. So, that's it. Enjoy the food and drinks. With that, I prepared to leave, but before I could take 2 steps, I was stopped by a middle-aged woman. What? Are you out of your mind? Refusing to acknowledge the top provincial scholar. Wendy, listen to me, I'm your aunt. If you don't want to go back to your parents' house, you can come to mine. My place is fine too. Why should she go to your house? Another middle-aged man blocked my way. Come to your uncle's place. In any case, you can't leave. If you really don't want to, we can remove your father's family from the family registry. Our Lincoln family's ancestral grave must have exploded to produce a top scholar, and a national defense scholar at that. Even a fool would know what choice to make. As he spoke, this man, slightly older than Mr. Lincoln, cast a disdainful glance at the family of 4. Finally, Mr. Lincoln spoke. That's enough. Everyone quiet down. After speaking, he glanced at Jenny Lincoln, then looked at me, and continued. The reason for hosting this gathering today is to inform everyone that Wendy is back. As for Jenny, she will be moving out. Upon hearing this, Jenny Lincoln seemed to crumble as she collapsed into Jack's arms. Jack, not to be outdone, declared, if you're driving Jenny away, I'll leave with her. They're putting on a show again. I found it utterly dull and was about to slip away. But Mrs. Lincoln caught me red-handed. Wendy, where do you think you're going? We've all agreed to send Jenny away. What more do you want? Mrs. Lincoln shouted at me in anguish. Suddenly being called out startled me, and I could only reply, then wait until she moves out before coming to me. We still have dorm checks to do tonight, so we're leaving first. After saying that, I planned to continue making my escape, but just as I was about to step out of the Lincoln family's living room, Jenny Lincoln called me out again. She seemed to have just woken up in Jack's arms, her face pale as she bit her lip and shouted, Wendy, don't go. I'll move out right now. Without caring about the onlookers' gazes, she immediately knelt before Mr. and Mrs. Lincoln, crying as she spoke, I know, Mom and Dad, it's all my fault. If I weren't here, Wendy would come home right away. After saying that, she walked up to me and whispered in a voice only the 2 of us could hear, don't get too cocky. One day, I'll take back everything I've lost. Before I could react, she suddenly knelt down before me with a thud. Wendy, it's all my fault. I'll leave now. Will you take good care of Mom, Dad, and brother in my place? She cried pitifully at me. Jack couldn't bear to see it and came over to pull her away, shouting as he did, why are you kneeling to her? She doesn't deserve it. Let me tell you, the more you act like this, the more I despise you. If you're willing to take back what you just said now, Kneel and apologize to Jenny, beg for her forgiveness. I might still consider you my sister, otherwise, our whole family will disown you. Hearing Jack's ridiculous outburst, I couldn't help but laugh and said, I originally thought Jenny Lincoln was like that because of bad genes, and that the Lincoln family's education shouldn't be a problem, but seeing how you are now, I'm seriously considering whether I should even return to this family. I don't want to end up as crazy as you all, Jack. Maybe you should get your head checked. What good does it do me to be treated like a sister by you? Will it make me immortal, or invincible, or is it that in this Lincoln family, your father's word doesn't count, and you're the one in charge? My words made Jack's expression shift several times. Having seen enough drama for the day, I was about to leave when Mr. Lincoln called me back. This time, I didn't give him a chance to speak and said directly, talk to me after Jenny Lincoln leaves this family. You've already fed me empty promises once, don't keep testing my limits. You know full well that in my current situation, even if I don't reclaim my place in the Lincoln family, it won't affect me at all. With that, I walked out of the Lincoln family without looking back, leaving all the chaos behind me. 5. What? It's over just like that. I'm not saying this, Wendy, but if you don't move into the Lincoln family, how are you going to find the chance to investigate their tax evasion? Sarah asked with concern about my recent third-class merit, while I remained confident. You just don't get it, do you? There's only one way. Cause chaos in their household, the messier it gets, the less time they'll have for other things, and your brother will definitely find the clues. Huh, really? It's that simple? Sarah looked at me skeptically. Of course, just wait and see. With that, I took Sarah out to buy some things, just as we were about to return to school. A young man blocked our path. Wendy Lincoln, long time no see. I took a closer look. It was actually David, Lucy's son and Jenny Lincoln's biological brother. After his mother was sent to prison, he was taken away by relatives in the countryside. What was he doing here all of a sudden? Wendy Lincoln, who would have thought you'd make it big and get into military school? Perfect timing. Hand over the child support money my family spent raising you, or I'll shout it to the whole world. I was utterly shocked, and so was Sarah. She couldn't help but speak up. Are you out of your mind? Your mother kidnapped Wendy, and you have the nerve. If you won't give it back, fine. Someone, come quick. With that, he started shouting, everyone, come see this. A military academy student turning ungrateful, forgetting their family after getting in. As he yelled, a crowd gathered around, pointing fingers at me. No way. How could such an ungrateful person get into military school? Who knows? There are plenty of talented people without morals. That's true. Just as I saw them pulling out their phones to take photos and videos, I spoke up. I will naturally resort to legal action regarding this gentleman's defamation against me. As for those who wish to take photos, please take a look at the notice nearby. I pointed to the sign next to me that read, Military Restricted Area, no photography or recording, and the crowd finally quieted down. Soon after, the police arrived and were about to take David away. Only then did he realize what was happening and hurriedly sought my help. Wendy, don't do this. You're not really going to let the police arrest me, are you? Don't you remember how good I was to you when we were kids, Wendy? As David's voice faded into the distance, I couldn't help but laugh at his words. How good he was to me. I cooked, did laundry, chopped firewood at his house, often went days without food, and was frequently beaten. What a wonderful way to treat me. I briefly recalled that tragic period of my childhood before throwing myself into my studies, thinking this little episode would pass without further consequence. To my surprise, that very evening, a video titled, Talented but Morally Bankrupt Defense Student Disowns Family, went viral across major online platforms. Clicking on it, I saw footage of David harassing me earlier that day. I was baffled. Hadn't I pointed out the no photography or recording sign to them? Who could be this reckless? Scrolling through the comments, I noticed hardly anyone mentioned me. Most were just curious about how the video had been uploaded in the first place. Hey, isn't this the entrance of XX University? How dare someone film here? Did no one say anything? Let's guess how long this account will last. I don't think it'll go past 11 o'clock. Sure enough, before 10 o'clock, both the video and the account that posted it were gone. Shortly after, the official Weibo account of our local military district even posted a video titled, Protecting State Secrets is Every Citizen's Duty, calling on everyone to learn from it. Right at that moment, my phone received a message from Sarah's brother. David confessed. He said Jenny Lincoln gave him money to harass you. and the video was also filmed and posted online by Jenny Lincoln. "We're going to arrest Jenny Lincoln now. Do you want to come along?" "Come." I went over to add fuel to the fire. The crazier Jenny Lincoln acted, the more chaotic the Lincoln family became. At the height of the chaos, investigating their tax evasion would leave them no time to fabricate evidence. Contemplating my upcoming third-class merit award, I couldn't help but grin from ear to ear. Upon entering the Lincoln household, the scene was bustling. Kevin was leading the arrest of Jenny Lincoln, who was crying pitifully. Both Jack and Mrs. Lincoln were pleading for leniency, while Mr. Lincoln, in stark contrast to his usual doting on Jenny, looked utterly impatient, as if he couldn't wait for the farce to end. It was in this atmosphere that I made my entrance. Well, what a lively scene. All eyes turned to me as I said leisurely, "Don't mind me. Carry on. It's my first time seeing the police make an arrest, so I'm just here to broaden my horizons. Wendy, we're all family. Please talk to the police and ask them to let Jenny go." Mrs. Lincoln grabbed me as if I were her last hope, but I slowly withdrew my arm from her grasp. "I'm sorry, Mrs. Lincoln, but the crimes she committed are being prosecuted by the state. My personal matters haven't even come into play yet." "Wendy Lincoln, must you be so heartless?" Jack shouted angrily. "Wendy, we're all family." Even Mr. Lincoln spoke up, but I quickly interrupted. "Stop, I haven't joined your Lincoln family yet. I said I wouldn't join the Lincoln family unless she leaves." "Wendy Lincoln, you bitch, you're just jealous. You're jealous that your parents and your brother only dote on me, and you deserve it. You should stay in the countryside as a village girl for the rest of your life. Married off to an idiot as a child bride. I've already told David to expose you. Just wait, it won't be long before you're fired." Jenny Lincoln cursed at me like a madwoman, and I was shocked. "What? No more pretending." Jenny Lincoln's sudden outburst also shocked everyone else. Jack rushed over to hold her back and said to me angrily, "If anything happens to Jenny, I won't let you off the hook." I was amused. Before I could say anything, Kevin beside me spoke up, threatening a citizen in front of the police. "You can explain at the station too. How exactly do you plan to not let her off? Take them all away." As soon as Kevin finished speaking, a chorus of wailing and shouting erupted. After the chaos subsided, Jenny, Lincoln, and Jack were all taken away. Mrs. Lincoln, worried, followed along. Only Mr. Lincoln and I remained in the room. Seeing the excitement was over, I was about to leave when suddenly, Mr. Lincoln spoke. "Are you satisfied now?" I paused, thought for a moment, and said, "Not yet. Not until you kick that idiot Jack out of the company. With someone like him, no matter how much wealth you've built, he'll squander it all. You might as well hand it over to the competition rather than keep him around." With that, I walked away without waiting to see how Mr. Lincoln would react. Whatever, the chances of Jack being removed are slim, but it doesn't matter. As long as the Lincoln family remains in chaos, there's always an opportunity. Jenny Lincoln was still bailed out after all, given the Lincoln family's vast wealth and influence. However, the very next day after Jenny Lincoln's release, trending topics about the Lincoln family exploded online. Hashtag Lincoln family group heiress Jenny Lincoln released on bail despite violations. Hashtag Lincoln family group heiress bullied classmates in high school. Hashtag Lincoln family group evaded taxes. Hashtag Central Investigation Team enters the Lincoln family group. It turns out that on the same day Jenny Lincoln was summoned to the police station, an online account shared a story about being bullied in high school. Now that the main perpetrator of the bullying was in prison, the poster felt that the heavy rain from that year had finally stopped, and she could finally step out of it. Netizens speculated about who it might be, and within days, Jenny Lincoln was bailed out. The blogger, whose depression worsened, decided to lay out all the details of how Jenny Lincoln had bullied her in high school. This triggered a public outcry, and the Lincoln family's tax evasion was exposed, prompting the Central Investigation Team to swiftly enter the Lincoln family group. With the Lincoln family recently preoccupied with the drama surrounding the real and fake heiresses, they had no energy to address the company's shady dealings. The investigation team's rapid intervention quickly uncovered the tax evasion, leading to a definitive conclusion. The Lincoln family group had evaded taxes totaling 450 million yuan, combined with other criminal activities. Charles, the president of the Lincoln family group, was sentenced to 15 years in prison, with all illegal gains confiscated and orders issued for the relevant parties to repay the owed taxes. The sentence took effect immediately. Charles, dissatisfied, immediately filed an appeal. While awaiting the second trial, He repeatedly tried to contact me. Coincidentally, having learned certain things, I also wanted to see him. Through the detention center's glass window, I studied my biological father carefully. His blue prison uniform, his graying temples. After just half a month, there was no trace left of his former confident demeanor. Charles anxiously gestured for me to pick up the receiver and listen to what he had to say. Wendy Lincoln. Listen to me, you must save me, do you hear me? Otherwise, with a father in prison, the military won't accept you. Ignoring his threats, I spoke up. Hold on a minute, I know a thing or two here. If you're willing to answer me honestly, I might consider what you're saying. Otherwise, forget it. You know, my household registration is currently at the school, and the word orphan is clearly written in my records. You can't threaten me with that. Think about it. After a long while, Charles seemed to have struggled with his thoughts before finally speaking. Speak. Your driver confessed two things that caught my attention. One was that 7 years ago, you received news that Lucy, your former nanny, had been imprisoned for child trafficking. The police specifically questioned you about it, and you claimed you had no useful information. The other matter, I looked into his eyes. Your driver said the Lincoln car accident involving Jenny was arranged at your instruction. Do you have anything to add? Charles seemed unprepared for these questions, his entire body radiating unease. Speak properly, I reminded him. If you're honest with me, maybe I'll do as you say. Finally, as if he had made up his mind, he spoke. I've known about Lucy for a long time. After raising Jenny for so many years, she's learned everything well. If we brought you back, I understood what he left unsaid. Raising a young lady of high society requires significant investment, whether for taking over the family business or for an arranged marriage. She would be far more presentable than an unknown country girl like me. My biological father truly puts profit above all else. So why did you later prefer to have Jenny Lincoln get into a car accident just to acknowledge me? I stared into Charles's eyes, his gaze shifting uneasily. And I said, let me guess. It's because of my grades. Because I got into the military academy, because I suddenly seemed useful again, right? Looking at Charles, I could only feel utterly ridiculous. Everything, all of it, was so absurd and laughable. Ignoring his reaction, I stood up to leave. He banged on the glass, his voice coming through the intercom. Wendy Lincoln, you said you would help me. If you don't, what future do you have left with your biological father in prison? I won't help you. I picked up the phone and said word by word. I won't help you. I want you to witness with your own eyes everything you value. Fame, reputation, wealth, all reduced to nothing. You'll spend the rest of your life in prison. Mr. Lin, this is exactly what you deserve. With that, I dropped the microphone and walked away, paying no heed to whatever happened behind me. Charles's appeal changed nothing. The second trial upheld the original verdict, and he was sent to prison. All the Lincoln family's assets were confiscated, leaving the current Mrs. Lincoln, Jack, and Jenny Lincoln crammed into a shabby studio apartment of about 30 square meters. The sudden upheaval was too much for Jenny Lincoln to bear, and she spiraled into madness, ranting daily that she was the true heiress of the Lincoln family and vowing to crush me, the imposter, underfoot. With no money for hospitalization, Mrs. Lincoln had to care for her around the clock. But since she couldn't be there every second, she resorted to tying Jenny up with ropes while she slept, shopped, or cooked. The entire household's expenses fell on Jack's shoulders. Years of privilege and idleness had left him without any marketable skills, and the cutthroat world of fame and fortune, always quick to fawn over the powerful and scorn the fallen, made it even harder for him, especially now. But none of this had anything to do with me anymore. After graduation, thanks to my third-class merit award and my academic achievements over the years, I was assigned to a peacekeeping unit and sent abroad. Before leaving, I sought out Jack and handed him a card, explaining that I would deposit the bare minimum monthly allowance for Mrs. Lincoln's support, not out of kindness, but to ensure this wouldn't become a liability for me. He initially tried to refuse out of pride, but my persuasion won out. As I left their cramped apartment, I ran into Mrs. Lincoln leading Jenny back from a walk, a rope tied around her arm. Mrs. Lincoln flinched when she saw me, then glanced at Jenny, who was too lost in her delusions to recognize me. Emboldened, she awkwardly invited me to stay for dinner. Before I could even think of an excuse, Jack stepped in, saying I had school matters to attend to, and I left. We never saw each other again after that. After hearing the two stories above, what are your thoughts? Feel free to share your opinions in the comments section. Looking forward to hearing from you. If you liked this story, don't forget to like it, share it, and subscribe to my channel. See you next time.